Yo, what's up guys? It's Corpse Class here. Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys enjoyed that last video. I got another crazy story for you guys. Let's go ahead and let's start it. So this story all takes place in my junior year in high school, which was somewhat last year. I'm a senior in high school right now. And I remember there was this teacher that I had for English class. And we're going to call him Mr. Hendry. And Mr. Hendry was like really cool English teacher. You know, we didn't have a problem with him. Every now and then, like I go like to his classroom during lunch, hang out with him. Me and my other friend, like we would go too. And I had this friend in that class too. We'll go ahead and call him Dylan. So me and Dylan would always go to his class and hang out with him for a little bit during lunchtime. And then we'd leave like 5 minutes before the bell rang. And that was kind of our move, like every other day. And this one time we went to class, we got to class, and he's giving his lecture, and my desk and Dylan's desk are next to each other, but they're also right next to the teacher. So if I lean my chair back and kind of like slouch in my chair, I can see like the front of his desk, like the drawers, the pencils, like I can see what's on his computer screen, all that. You know, I don't do it on purpose. I just like, happen to lean back and I kind of glance over at what is on his desk, that kind of thing. But this day in particular, I was sitting in class and I was stretching. So I was leaning back, I had my arms up, and I was stretching on that chair. And I took a glance over at his desk, and he was at the front of the class, teaching, telling us like, whatever the assignment. And I was, I was slouching back, stretching, and I looked over at his desk, and one of his drawers is open, and it's open about halfway. So I got a little curious, and I was kind of stretching, but also leaning to the right where his desk was, and I leaned a little too far, and I like nearly fell, but I caught myself, and he's like, "Yo, like, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, my bad." Like, I was stretching, almost fell, and he's like, "All right, put my arms back down," and he, keeps talking, and now I'm invested on wanting to know what's in his drawer. It's probably like, not even anything. So I lean back again, I put out my arms, I hold my hands in a different position this time, just to kind of give like a different kind of stretch so he doesn't think I'm suspicious. And I lean a little again to the right, and now I can see half of what it is in his desk. And I'm leaning just a little bit more, and I spot this Ziploc bag. And it's a Ziploc bag. I'm like, oh, that's like a funny looking Ziploc bag. Like, I wonder what's in that Ziploc bag. So I remember I stand up, and I'm like, yo, Mr. Hendry. And he's like, what's up, man? He's like, can I go to the bathroom? And he's like, yeah, like, go ahead. So I get up, and I walk right to go around the desk. And as I'm walking right, I like glance down at that drawer, and it is a bag of pot, weed. Yes, it's a bag of weed in my teacher's desk. And I'm like, oh, shoot. And so I kind of like, glance back up to the front of the desk, and this dude is staring at me because he knows what I saw in there. And I walk over to the front of the class, like toward the door, and I'm like writing on the sign out sheet. I'm grabbing the pass, and he's rushing back to the desk. And I glance over again, and he quietly closes the door, and he walks back up to the front of the class. And as he's walking back up to the front of the class, he's kind of looking at me with like this kind of side eye. And I was like, yeah, I didn't see anything. And I just open up the classroom door, walk out, go to the bathroom. Now I get to the bathroom, and I see one of my friends in there. We'll call him Alex. I'm like, yo, what's up, Alex? Dap him up, and we're kind of talking a little bit. And I had mentioned, I was like, man, I found like weed in my teacher's desk. Like, he left it open. I saw it in there. He kind of knew what I saw. So he was like nervous now. Alex was like, no way. And I was like, yeah, dude, like, I'm for real. And he's like, no way, like you gotta take a picture, you gotta send it to me. I was like, no, like, I'm not gonna take a picture, like, I don't wanna get him fired, and, I don't wanna send it to the wrong person, and they happen to leak it, and it goes over social media, and it eventually lead up to the principal, and get him fired. Like, nah, man, like, I don't wanna do that. I was like, no, man, just to me, like, just send it to me, like, just me, and I'll show it to a friend of mine. And I was, kind of biased about it. I was like, should I not? Eventually, I was like, man, like, I'll snap a photo when class ends. He's like, oh, for sure, thanks, man. And so I dap him up, I leave, I go back to class. I sit down, he finishes the lecture, the bell rings. And now this teacher in particular, whenever the bell rings, he would kind of like say bye to us. And he would, go, like, he would walk out of the classroom and stand outside of his classroom. So I knew that was my opportunity to open his drawer and take a photo. So the bell rings, and Dylan gets up, and I'm like, yo, hold on, man. he's like, what? And I pull a notebook out of my backpack, and because I have folded up pieces of paper in that notebook, and I see the teacher turn around, so I immediately pull up those folded pieces of paper, and I just throw them on the floor, and I throw the notebook on the floor, and I see him turn around, and he's like, yo, like, yeah, you dropped a notebook. He's like, oh, like I did, like I didn't even know. I clearly knew. I guess he just didn't see that I did it on purpose. And I was like, thanks, man. Like, I'll grab that. And he's like, yeah, like, like, see you tomorrow. And he walks out the door, and he's standing there, and I'm like, perfect. He's like, Dylan's like, what are you doing? So I'm picking up all my stuff, and I'm sticking it into my bag, and I'm zipping it up, and I'm looking over at the door, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? And I open his drawer, like I opened the teacher's drawer, and Dylan walks over, and he's like, no freaking way. I was like, yeah, I know. And I pull my phone out, take a picture, close the drawer, stick my phone in my pocket, walk out the door. And now me and Dylan were the only ones in the classroom. So I walk out the door, and I see the teacher, and I'm like, yo, like, I'll see you tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, man, see you. And I walk out. And I really thought he wasn't going to say anything, that I saw that. I'm surprised. Like, he definitely knew that I saw it, but I guess he just didn't say anything. I guess he was just like, oh, no, like, I'm probably seeing things if I didn't see it. It's whatever. That's probably what he was thinking. So I left. I eventually sent the picture to my friend Alex. He gets the picture, and he's like, no way. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, that's crazy. I'm just going to send this to my friend real quick. And I was like, yo, man, make sure your friend doesn't send that picture to nobody or post it. I was like, nah, man, I'm like, for sure. Like, I'll make sure that doesn't happen. Like, trust me. Like, it's picture safe with me. I'll tell him not to. And I was like, all right, for sure. Sounds good. So me and Dylan were walking down the hall. School just finally ended. I met up with him. We're walking over to the buses. And he's like, yo, man, you down to come to my house, chill out? And I was like, yeah, dude, like, I'm down for sure. So he tells his mom that I'm going to come over. I let my mom know. I was like, hey, mom, I'm going to go to Dylan's house, hang out with him for a little bit. I'll be home later. And he's like, yeah, it's cool. You need me to pick you up? And he's like, nah, like, like, I could probably have Dylan get me a ride. Like, you're at work. I don't want to bother you. And she's like, all right, cool. Like, have fun. She's like, thanks, mom. So I get to Dylan's house. Me and him and there, we're playing video games, eating snacks, kind of talking. And I decided to check social media. Now, this was about 4 to 5 hours after school had ended. So I pull out my phone, I open up Instagram, and I'm scrolling. And Dylan is kind of like, he's playing the game, and he's looking back at me, and he's looking back. And he's playing, and he looks back, and he sees my face is just in total shock, and like, oh, no. And he paused, and he's like, yo, dude, what happened? And I was like, Alex leaked that damn picture I sent him. And he was like, oh, the weed? And I was like, yes, man, he leaked it. And he's like, no. And I show him the picture, and it wasn't Alex's Instagram account. It was a different person. And Dylan's like, oh, no, dude. Like, Henderson's going to get fired. And I was like, I know, man. Like, I did not want this to happen. I didn't even care that he had it. And so now me and Dylan were both real upset. And immediately I call Alex. And Al picks up. He's like, yo, what's up, dog? And I'm like, no, don't what's up, dog, me. You just leaked that damn picture I sent you. I was like, what are you talking about? No, I didn't. And I said, yes, it did. And I sent him the account that had the picture. I sent it to him, and he pulls it up, and he's like, oh, no, like, no. And I hear him, and he's like really, really upset. And I was like, don't play stupid, dude. I know you sent that to your homie. He freaking leaked it. He's like, no, man, I didn't. Like, I sent it to him, and I told him, don't leak this, bro. Like, don't leak it. And he told me he wasn't going to. Like, I'll send you a screenshot. And I was like, send it to me then. So he takes a screenshot. He sends me the screenshot. I look at him like, oh, he's not lying. And I tell Alex, I'm like, dude, you freaking, like, your homie lied. Like, he posted that picture, and now Mr. Hendry's gonna get freaking fired. And he's like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, that was the coolest teacher I ever met. Like, no, this can't be happening. And I'm like, I know. Like, let's just hope that it doesn't get to the principal. It's only been a couple hours since it was posted. Let's just hope that the principal doesn't see it. Now, in my school, when you post one thing and you have a whole bunch of other students from the school following you, and they see that's interesting, they'll post it, and it'll go over and over and over. Now, this Instagram post of the bag of weed in my teacher's desk said, weed found in classroom, just in general, that's what it said. And it, like, had all these emojis to make it sound, like, really crazy. And I'm seeing, like, I look at the Instagram, like, share button, and there's a whole bunch of shares. And I'm like, no. So I'm really upset now, and I'm just like, you know what, let's just hope nothing happened. So I brushed it off, closed my phone, and I just continued playing video games with Dylan. So I got home that night, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and I get to school, get through the day, and I get to my English class, and I walk in, and Mr. Hendry is nowhere. Like, he's not even in the classroom. Like, he's not even there. No one's at the desk. Like, he's gone. And I'm like, oh no. So I walk over to his desk and I pull the drawer open, and sure enough, the weed is gone, and so is he. So I'm freaking out, and I turn around and I close the drawer, and in comes a substitute. And I'm just like, oh shoot, like, please tell me that this dude just got sick or something. And like, over the loudspeaker, I just hear my name, and they're like, come to the front office. And I was like, oh no. So I walk over to the front office, and like, as I'm walking out the door, Dylan's walking in. He's like, dude, what happened? It's like, I got called to the front office. Mr. Hendry isn't even here. And Dylan looks into the classroom. He's like, oh shoot, like, I'll come with you. And I was like, whatever, man, like, let's go. So we both go to the front office. We say, like, we're here to see the principal. She lets us in. We go in, and I open up the door, and both of us walk in. And the principal looks at Dylan, and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm here with my friend. He's like, no, we don't have that here. You can wait out. And he was like, all right. And Dylan sits outside the principal's office. And the principal sits me down, and he's like, all right. So clearly we've seen online that there's been weed inside of Mr. Hendry's desk. You send it to a friend sent it to another, so forth. And eventually I found it, and we sadly had to remove Hendry from the school. And I was like, how long? And he's like, forever. Like, we had to let him go. Like, we can't have that in our building. And I'm like, no. And he's like, he can tell that I'm really upset about it. And he's like, well, you sent that picture to someone, and they sent it to another. Word spreads fast in this school, you know that. And I was like, I know, but I didn't expect like for it to get leaked like that. I sent it to one friend, and that friend sent it to another, and the friend that he sent it to said he wasn't gonna leak it. And he's like, yeah, well, got leaked. Sorry, so we'll get you guys a new teacher in about a week. But for now, just kind of deal with that substitute. And I was like, and you'll be okay. And I was like, all right. And it sends me off. I go back to class. I see Dylan. I sit down, and he sees that I'm devastated. And he's like, yo, man, you good? I was like, no, like, Hendry's gone, dude. They fired him. And Dylan's like, no way. And I was like, yeah, man, like, they fired him. We're going to have to substitute for a week until they give us a new teacher. And Dylan's like, damn, dude. So now we're both bummed out because Hendry was just such a damn cool teacher. So that week goes by, and we get a new teacher, and we'll just call her, I don't know, Miss Silva. So Miss Silva is now our new English teacher, and she sucks. She's rude. She doesn't let us have her phones out. She now has assigned C, so I can't even sit next to Dylan anymore. And me and Dylan are just so bummed out, and her assignments are just ridiculous. And we're upset, and I was like, this is my fault. Like, I got Mr. Hendry fired, dude. And it's a horrible, like, first week of the new teacher. So the first week ends, and it's Saturday morning, and I'm like, I gotta go, like, I'm finna go hang out with some friends today. So I call up one of my friends. I'm like, yo, guys, you wanna hang out? And they're like, yeah, for sure. So my mom drops me off at their house. So it's me, Dylan, and my other friends, we'll call them Zach and Max. So me, Dylan, Zach, and Max are all chilling there at his house, and Max is like, yo, guys, you wanna, like, go walk the neighborhood? There's a Dollar General down the street. We can go, like, buy snacks or something. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm down. So we walk, and we're walking down the street. We're talking. We get to the Dollar General. We walk in, and we're walking down the aisles, grabbing snacks. And we have this little basket, and it's kind of, it's got some drinks in there, some energy drinks, some sodas, chips. And we're walking over to the register, and I see this guy, and he has a hood up, and, like, has a similar body build as Mr. Henderson. Like, not Mr. Henderson, Mr. Hendry. And I'm like, I look at Dylan, I'm like, yo, dude, that might be Mr. Hendry. And I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, man, like look at his shoulders. Like, his shoulders are, I don't know, they look just like him, and he's the same height. So we're walking over into the checkout, and I see the guy, he, like, pays, and he goes to turn, and he turns, and I see, like, half his face. I'm like, that's Mr. Hendry. And I see him turn, and he stares for, like, a solid 3 seconds, and then he turns back around and walks out the door, and we pay, and we quickly rush out. And now, like, Zach and Max, like, they knew the guy, but they didn't have his class, so they also knew who he was. And I seen him walking to his car. I was like, oh, Mr. Hendry. And he turns, and he's like, you got me fired, man, I can't talk to you. And I was like, no, I didn't mean to. Like, I sent that picture of, like, the weed to, like, a friend, and he, like, he got it leaked, man. Like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I can't talk to you. Like, you're not a student anymore. You're not a student of mine anymore. I'm just, like, I'm done. Like, I'm done with teaching. Like, I can't teach in any school, in any other district. And I'm apologizing, and I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean for that to happen. And he's like, I'll see you later. And he shuts the car door, and he drives off. And now I'm real upset because I just seen the dude after I got him fired at a freaking Dollar General. If you're at a Dollar General and you're like over the age of 18, you're buying stuff there, I know you're freaking like, you know, you're down on money. It's like the cheapest place you can go. So me and my friends, we go back to Dylan's house or whoever's house we were at. We're kind of eat our snacks. We play our video games. I leave because it's the weekend. I leave, I go home, and I'm kind of talking to my mom, and I'm telling her the incident, and she's kind of like, oh, like, that sucks. You shouldn't have took that picture. And I was like, yeah, I know. Didn't mean to. And that was really it. I haven't seen this teacher ever since. Eventually, I did finish, you know, the class. I'm a senior now. I don't have to deal with that teacher. That teacher is actually still there. The new teacher that replaced Mr. Hendry, she's actually still there. But she changed classrooms. But that was really it. And like, that's it. It's end of the story. So, moral of the story is, if you are a teacher, do not bring drugs to school. Don't even like have them in your possession. If you happen to bring them, just leave them in your damn car. Trust me, it's a better option. Or you're gonna end up like Mr. Hendry, you know. But hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.